Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I finished up playing SOMA. Let's do a little Q&A, shall we? Look at this. End of year Q&A. Let's just chat for like 10-15 minutes. Hell yeah. Oh, Gargantix is the first time ever subbing. Wow, thank you. Been watching for 4 years. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I appreciate your work and personality. I shall never unsub. It's very sweet of you. If for some reason you do wind up unsubbing, it's totally cool. Don't stress. No worries. Oh my gosh. All right, we got to do this question right away from Tesla Craig. He's pasted it a couple times, I saw. So there's a small issue. I'm completely infatuated with this girl who I've known for about a year. We both admit romantic feelings and made tentative plans to have her visit me during spring break or summer of 2016. The issue is I don't know how I'll feel when she does visit, and I'm able to finally be with her for a few weeks. Then she has to fly home, as you live in New York and she lives in Sweden. Do you think long-distance relationships are possible? Do you have any advice for me? Oh yeah, I absolutely think they're possible. I think there's a certain realism that it sounds like you have. That's the sort of thing where it's important to take one thing at a time. I don't want to say one day at a time, but like, here, for instance, might be a really reasonable scenario. You wake up, you chat, you hang out in the morning, and things go really well, and then you just go and do your day. And in the evenings, she's already asleep, so you're fine, right? You just kind of have your evenings to yourself, and that seems good. I've known people who have had a similar sort of interaction, where because their sleep schedules were offset, there's like a little opportunity to do that. There's a realistic portion, which is that, there's something that can't be replaced with just like, yeah, she's like right there. And she's like on her laptop doing something, and you're on your computer doing something, and you're just nearby each other. Like, you don't get that when you're in different countries. And that can put a little strain on there, I think, because it's just nice to be near somebody. I don't even mean in a relationship. I mean just like it's nice to be near somebody. There's a reason why people like to just go to coffee shops and just work there, because they're not alone in their rooms. They're at the coffee shops sort of around. There's some activity and stuff. It's just nice to be around people. So, yeah, I think it's absolutely possible. It's okay to be realistic, and if for some reason those feelings start to dwindle or things start to not work out, that's okay. That's totally okay. And I would definitely not worry about what it's going to be like should a visit sort of happen. Got to take that a little bit of time and just be realistic about it. That's what I think. That's my thought on that. Fi says, I've been in a long-distance relationship for 7 years almost. They can work. Yeah, I mean, I personally know people who have had successful long-distance relationships. Works great. Let's take something, from Praise. It says, what would the game of your dreams consist of? I have an answer for you. There's something that I really don't, God, I'm trying to think if I've ever really talked about this explicitly. I've talked about sort of around it, but, where the fuck did my train of thought go? Oh yeah, I sort of talked around this, but let me say this explicitly. I really love wonder as a piece of playing a game. When you're playing Dark Souls and there is a doorway that you couldn't open for a long time, you didn't know how to get to it, you finally get to the door and you open it, and it's just a giant cliff expanse down to a huge castle that you realize you can explore, and that feeling of like, oh wow. And that is the biggest thing that I really love about competitive games. Is like the best feeling of wonder encapsulated. Where, I don't know if any of you play Go. Oh, okay, this happens in Go, this happens in StarCraft. In Brood War, I remember, you'd watch I Love Uv play, and he would make the big attack, and, Jun Wei would barely defend I Love Uv's attack. And you'd be like, whoa, nice defense, Jun Wei. And they'd go back to I Love Uv's natural, and it would be this enormous army, even bigger than the first one, and everyone would just go, oh, how the hell did he get all those units? Obviously, he didn't cheat, because he's playing on the main stage, and you can just rewatch the replay and see exactly how he did it. But the fact that he did, there was something magical there, where you go, how on earth did this guy get that stuff? The Protoss player Best, one of the 6 dragons of Brood War, he would just have so much more stuff than everyone else. The fact that Bisu took 2 units that are bad, Corsairs and Dark Templar, and used these considered to be bad units to form the strategy that redefined how Protoss vs. Zerg works. That's that feeling of wonder and amazement and beauty that's like, you just didn't expect it. And in Go, you'll get this, where you look at the you look at the board and be like, oh yeah, you could go here or there, that seems reasonable. Yeah, you can just attach there or whatever, and very basic opening, and then you'll watch just some 9-Dan pro and just like put a stone in the weirdest spot on like the 7th line, just like really early in the game, and you're just like I don't even know how to begin to understand, and then that stone will turn out to be super critical for some fight that was happening in the bottom left of the map, or excuse me, the opposite side of the board. Oops, mixing and matching. It's so cool. So I talk about all this. I talk about all this because the original question is, what would my ideal game be? And this isn't going to turn into the pun. You know what my ideal sci-fi series would be? I want an MMO environment, an MMO persistent world, and I'm happy for it to just be like a sort of standard RPG-esque, third-person, large world, but that can capture that feeling of wonder and mystery. The fact that all MMOs, probably with the exception of EVE, all MMOs just have all these people who just grind out all the data and immediately upload all the maps of all the dungeon raids and exactly how to beat the boss. Every single nook and cranny of the entire world is perfectly explored and known, and many companies just don't really make the content unless a large group of people can actually consume it. So for me, I want like an MMO space where, I was actually just talking about this with Tristan the other day, where an MMO space where there is content that 98% of the players will never even be able to get to. That the players are playing on this continent and someone finds a mysterious boat, a mysterious ferryman that appears only once every 3 weeks at exactly a certain time for 5 minutes. And the ferryman carries them to an entirely new continent. And everyone just goes, whoa! That's the thing that I want out of an MMO experience, which is very pie in the sky. Because again, if I'm a company and I want to make a piece of content, making a piece of content is an incredibly big investment. Why would I want to be like, and nobody gets it? Brr. That kind of stinks. But if there's something procedural or something where the players are the one generating the content, some way to sort of withhold that sort of experience. And see, Cheese Poodles brings up, this from a game design perspective, what do you think about From Software's game? I think that From Software have done a really brilliant and clever job of creating a game that is very hard to just slurp a bunch of data out of and then you just get everything that's going on. The world is very three-dimensional. It's not just like a flat world where you wander around. Like Fallout New Vegas to me feels like just literally a 2D world, and I can go this way or that way. But I mean, in Dark Souls, it's all twisty and windy, and there's worlds layered on worlds, layered on worlds. That like, I'm gonna look up right now. Dark Souls map. And it's really hard to actually get something that looks reasonable. Like, what is this? Revived and updated? No, it's a map for a different game. Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing this Lordran world, which is like, yeah, like this thing, where this doesn't make any sense to me at all unless I've actually played the game and then I can begin to see what all the pieces are and where some of the fights of the bosses that I had were. Oh, I recognize this turret. For any of you who are wondering, here's the run that I made countless times to go fight that Minotaur up here when I played Dark Souls 1. Here's the cathedral that I fought through many a time. But like this doesn't make that much sense unless you already know the world. And the fact that From Software basically created such a complex, interconnectedly three-dimensional world, plus there's no map, plus there's no guidance, plus there's really hard monsters, that helps instill that feeling of wonder and mystery, and ooh, isn't that amazing? Like, I feel like if I sat down to play World of Warcraft, it would be so hard to do it. It would be so hard for me to just sit down and get into it and be like, isn't this amazing? Because it's just so easy to be like, oh God, I'm having trouble with that raid. And I look up info about the raid, and it's just, here's how everything works. It's done. It's been solved. So that's why I say competitive games give me that sense of wonder, because it's like, man, how the hell did he do that? You can see it happening, but achieving it's mysterious. It's so hard. I want that for an MMO. That's what I really want. But I want that in like content type perspective. Yeah. So I Am Juicebox says, I'm currently a student and my plan is to become a tattoo artist. My parents and close family disapprove heavily of my choice, even though this is my greatest dream, so I stand resolute. I wonder if you have some words of wisdom regarding following your dreams, even though outcomes may collide with the expectations of others. Also, greetings from Norway Day Nights. Woo! Norway! Never been to Norway, been to Sweden several times, and it is beautiful. I can only imagine Norway is equally lovely, albeit a degree or two colder. So here is something that I believe about dreams and about achievement in some area. There is no such thing as I am this or I am not that. Like, I am good at math, I am bad at math, I am not a writer, I am an organized person. All these things can be learned. You can be anything. You can literally say, I want to become an astronaut. And guess what? There is actually a very logical series of steps to take to become an astronaut. Like, there's like really clearly documented steps. Here are the subjects that you need to study. Here are the ways to learn those subjects. Here's the degree to which you need to succeed at those subjects in order to become an astronaut. In order to succeed at that succeed to that degree, here is the amount of rigor you should expect to do to your studies. And you know, the big question is just, oh man, I don't know if I have the motivation to do that, right? Like, that's the big thing. You know, there's obviously some literal ones where, like, if a 90-year-old's like, I want to slam dunk, it's like, well, you just, maybe that's impossible, but where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So the fact that you want to become a tattoo artist, there's just such a clear path to becoming a tattoo artist. You can easily study the craft, you can study what the successful tattoo artist did, and all that sort of thing. So first of all, there's two pieces to this. The first is when people say, I don't know if I can achieve this dream that I have. The answer is absolutely can. You have to really dedicate to it, and you have to be very realistic. You can't just go, I want to be a tattoo artist, and then you're not working on your craft every single day for many hours every single day. Like, you have to be doing that. Otherwise, it's never going to happen. Like, I want to learn to draw, but I don't know, I don't spend time drawing. No, draw for 40 hours a week. Like, draw for 40 hours a week. Every week. Draw for 40 hours a fucking week. Let's get good at drawing. So that's one piece. Dedication, focus on it, be real, get the steps in there. The second piece is make sure that the rest of what is going on around you is realistic. There is a surprising amount of people who will say, I work a desk job, but I really want to become an artist. So I quit my desk job, and now I'm an artist. I'm focusing on it full time. Or another one is, oh gosh, I'm just waiting to save up enough money to be able to take some time to do a course, or I'm looking for a job to do these sorts of things. Just make sure that you have these going on at the same time. So for instance, if I just had a desk job that was 9 to 5, and I wanted to, okay, let's do something super realistic. I work a job that's 9 to 7. It's a desk job that's actually kind of intense, and it's a lot of hours, and I'm very tired on the weekend, so I tend to just blob it up. So what do I do if I want to become an artist, right? I'm exhausted all the time. Well, first we'd say, okay, if I had, say, 40 hours a week to focus on my craft of art, how long would that take me to become an artist? Just do some research. And let's say you come up with something that's like 3 years. I knew someone who did this. No art skills, spent 3 years, and was quite proficient at the end of those 3 years. Okay. Does that work with the job that you're doing right now? It might not. This is a 9 to 7 with a lot of responsibility and pressure and tension that leaves you exhausted on the weekends. So, maybe start applying to some jobs that don't take as much of a mental load. Do an office management job that is straight 9 to 5 that you can't take home, that pays the bills, leaves you a little bit of extra for leisure, and then focus on the craft. I have gone through all these to come back to the original thing about what to do with disapproving people. Most of the time when I see people disapprove of something, it's because they don't understand the robustness of the plan. Like, there's this assumption that if you can become a doctor, okay, cool. Things can go bad in your career, but people always need doctors, so you're good, right? I don't need to think very hard to feel reassured that someone who is a doctor can get a job being a doctor. A lot of people, yes, Terracon says spot on. People mostly disapprove to protect you from failure, right? Like, ooh, are you good? Like, oh, a tattoo artist? That's a concern. Now, if you have a clear dedication to your craft that you're working on, and you also have a clear way to subsist, then you can talk about these in extremely concrete terms. Like, if I were in your position, here's what I might do. I might say, well, right now, given all my research, as long as I devote this much to the craft, there is an expectation that after 4 to 5 years experience, I'll be able to make this much money. And after 7 to 8 years experience, I'll be able to make this much money and be able to open my own shop. By the way, I know nothing about the tattoo business. I'm making this up. But let's say that this research shows this. And you say, now the concern is that I wouldn't be able to make enough money, but look, I have this realistic plan for how to maintain a good living and good income and be okay. And an example that I always love to point to is Brandon Sanderson, who was told, if you want to be an author, you need to know that your first 1,000,000 words are going to be garbage. You're going to have to throw them out. For any of you who don't know, a novel is about 120,000 words. So your first 1,000,000 words are going to be garbage. And so Brandon Sanderson just said, all right, well, let's get this out of the way. He got a job as a night manager at a hotel so he could spend most of his mental energy on writing in a relatively low-stress environment. And I think it was the 6th novel that he wrote was the one that got published first. Really grounded out. Now he is just, professor of creative writing at Brigham Young. Extremely successful fantasy author. Stormlight Archives' new series is great. Emperor's Soul, which is somewhere over here, is great. It's my favorite of his. I took the binding off. It's Legion by Brandon Sanderson. Great book. Great little novella. So that's my very long answer to that question. So I think that so Juicebox said, my main issue has been with the closest people kind of looking down on me because of my dreams and inspirations. Dude, I had that when I started the Daily. I don't get it that much lately, but I had some really concerned, like no one that I knew that I can think of that I had like a really strong personal relationship with. But I mean, parents of friends would be like, so you just talk about a game and you can make money doing that? Huh. Okay. Well, so are you going to try to become like someone on the local news? And I'm like, no, I am the thing that I'm trying to become. I'm it. They're like, well, you can't have a career doing that. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I had people say, well, you can't have a career doing that. Like, and technically that's true, because I don't have a job, right? I'm not employed by anyone. I just create a thing of value that people are interested in supporting. But I mean, just like people just I have been told by a successful business person that what I did was not a real business. And I was like, no, it supports itself. He's like, no, don't give me that crap. And I was like, what? Like, so I make money. No, yeah, I'm sure you make some revenue. You know, I'm sure you make, $20 for making a video, and that excites you because you're making money on games, but it's not a real business. And I'm just like, that's kind of weird. Terminus Stroll says, but wait, you do have a job. You work at artillery. I guess it's technically true. Not a job/career in the traditional sense, where that's like the thing that I do. I have like a lot of stuff. I mean, well, Dana, it's like Dana TV and artillery is the stuff. So, you can do it, but please, for God's sake, be real. Here, let me just do the caricature of who you shouldn't be. Fuck you, Mom. Fuck you, brother. Already this sucks because you are not trying to build a connection with your family. You're trying to push them away because they are making you feel bad. It's good to take distance, but it's bad to lash out. So again, it's bad. Fuck you, I'm not gonna... I'm a tattoo artist. And then just like move in with a friend and be like, I'll just be a waiter. Just try to do the tattoo thing and... refuse to take... I've known people who refuse to take jobs outside the career that they want to do because for some reason earning money is like... I'm just like, it's not my craft. It's not real money. That's fucking crazy. I don't know why you would ever do that. Earning money is honorable. It's totally great to earn money. There is no wrong way to earn money. If you're a janitor, you know what? Janitors are underappreciated and do amazing stuff. It is lovely to have an incredibly clean, delightful space. It's so great. It doesn't even draw attention to itself, janitorial work. So, damn it, I respect and appreciate janitors, and they should be fucking paid. And if there's a janitor who wants to become an artist, that's great. He can clean, then go home, he can focus on his art, and then maybe his art will blow up into a career. I know I'm still talking about this and I've answered this already, but this is just bringing back a lot of memories where, like, when I first did the daily, I made $0 on anything that I did for at least 100 episodes, I think. A long time, like close to a year. Was it like a year? No, it was less than that. But I wasn't rolling in dough. Yeah. This was like right when the internet was starting to become a thing where you could upload videos and make money from. So yeah. It is tiring. Another interesting piece on this, and then I'm actually just going to go because it's 5:41 already. Another interesting piece is that a lot of the people who you look at who are doing something that they love, that they're getting paid for, will tell you, you want to make your... what's the phrase? Like, make your passion your job. Or make sure you do what you love. But if you trace almost all of those people, they didn't do anything close to what they loved doing. Like, by a long shot. But what happened is they had some positive experiences that created this feedback loop that made them want to get better to keep overcoming the obstacles, to where they're eventually so incredibly good that they had developed a passion for this thing. So an example is like an NBA player. Very often they didn't start off at a young age always wanting to be an NBA player and to do it professionally. Instead, what happened is they happened to be a little better than their peers, had a really good experience where they felt powerful on the court, and then encountered some snags, and then got a little frustrated, but because they were living on that high of like, oh, I was good, they practiced a little bit to stay better, and they started to get into competitive environments where they'd practice really hard and then win an event, and that would feel really good. And then after many, many years, this person is passionate about basketball, whereas they started as just some kid that had a good day on his first time really playing basketball. Yeah. So you can actually create your own passion. You can actually say, I want to become good at that, and just kind of force your way through that initial hump. I do this a lot. I'm great at suffering. I kick ass at suffering, man. Getting into something and just having it feel crappy for a while until it starts to feel good. I mean, that's what the daily was. Like, it just did. Oh God, hearing myself talk in the room, it sucked. But I wanted to. I always wanted to be a good public speaker, man. I always fucking wanted to. And so oh my God, I've done some of the worst speeches. Oh God, I'm still real. Like, just thinking about it physically hurts to think of the time when I took a microphone and tried to do stand-up comedy and no one thought it was funny, but I just stood up there and I kept trying. And it was just 10 minutes then being like, someone get this fucking guy off the fucking stage. And then I got off the stage and I was like, oh God, it wasn't yay, I did it. It was that was just all awful from start to finish. And people are going to remember that. So, oh God. And now I love talking. I talk all the time. Still talk. Look, I'm going to be late for my thing. I'm going to go. Thank you all. You can become a tattoo artist. And let me just give a final shout out to the Totilio, Angelo's Car, Alien First, Gargantix, Drot Mall, Rawlek 123, Begmington, and to Annihilator. Appreciate the sub. I'm going to disappear. Have a wonderful, 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 wonderful 2 weeks. I'm going to be gone. I'm going to relax and then go to Vegas, baby. And of course, thanks, Catbert, for suggesting SOMA. It's sick.